Hi, Gemma here, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be covering a big life change of mine, and that was leaving my 9-to-5 job to become a creative business owner, specifically a calligrapher. So this has been on my wish list for years. Since I discovered calligraphy, I thought it could be a possibility that I could do this full time. And you know, it's something that I really wanted to do, and I finally got the courage to hand in my notice to pursue calligraphy full time. And because it's been on my wish list for so long, I had a set of expectations of what leaving my role would look like, and I thought it would be an interesting video idea to cover what those expectations were and then what the reality actually was, not just for my reflection, but if you're considering doing the same, you may find it helpful. So yeah, let's get into what those expectations were. Let's get started with expectation number one, and that was that I would build my business to full-time income before I handed in my notice. And the reality was that I couldn't continue working my 9-to-5 and build my business up to full-time income at the same time. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure if I was persistent and patient, I could have done, but I was getting burnt out. I couldn't continue working mornings, lunchtimes, evenings, weekends on my calligraphy business and continue to work my 9-to-5. I was getting quite grumpy because I just didn't have the energy levels that I used to and was getting burnt out. And it either meant giving up my calligraphy business or giving up my 9-to-5 job. And I made the decision to continue with my calligraphy business and really work on that and see how far I can take it. And I know that I am in a privileged position to be able to hand in my 9-to-5, to be able to build my side business up to a full-time income business. So I'm not going to take that for granted. And something else is that my most productive time was in the mornings, and obviously when I was in a 9-to-5 job, those mornings, or 5 of those mornings, were spent in work. So I felt like a big chunk of my productivity was being spent in my 9-to-5 role when it could have been spent on my business. So those are the factors that led me to making that decision and why the reality was different than my expectation. Moving on to my second expectation, and that was that this has been in the making for years. My close friends will know that I love calligraphy and that it's something I want to do, and they'll be happy for me. In fact, they'll be thrilled, but that wasn't the reality. The reality was that I was met with a lot of skepticism, interrogations, and frankly some quite rude questions that I think were unprofessional to ask. But I think I'll save those questions for a separate video because it's kind of shocking what some people felt was acceptable to ask. But anyway, I'll leave that for another video. So yeah, that knocked me back because I expected some positivity, and a lot of the time it was negativity. That's not to say there wasn't a handful of people that were really supportive, and to those people I want to say thank you because it really did mean a lot to me, and I think it gave me extra motivation to keep going. It reiterated particularly the importance of building a community in the business area you want to work in. So for me, it was building a calligraphy community. So I built some really lovely friendships in the calligraphy community, and they were so supportive, and that really helped motivate me further. But finally, you have to, it sounds really cheesy, but you have to really believe in yourself, and even when you're met with a lot of doubts or people who don't understand, if you know that you can do it, and yeah, if you know you can do it, give it a try. I believe that I can do this with time and focus. So I'm still excited to give it a go despite other people's skepticism. Onto the next expectation, and that was that handing in my notice would be the toughest part of leaving my role. And yeah, once I handed in my notice, it would be easy breezy. I don't know why I want to say beautiful cover girl, probably too much America's Next Top Model, but that was not the reality. Now, I understand that your notice period will vary in length dependent on where you work, which country you work in, etc. But for me, it was quite a long notice period, and by this point, I was quite ready to leave. The business I worked in was really lovely, but I was so excited to get started that the 9 to 5, like working in my 9 to 5 felt like energy that was misplaced, energy that I could be spending working on my business. And I knew that it was just temporary, but it did feel quite challenging because my dream felt like so close yet so far away. So it was actually surprisingly tough, and actually working my notice period made me quite burnt out. But we'll get to that onto the next expectation. My next expectation is that I was going to have a big celebration. Obviously, this is a huge milestone for me, and I wanted to celebrate it. I wanted to, dress up and go out for a nice meal and drinks, or do something to recognise that milestone. But that wasn't the reality. The reality was that I came home from work, went to bed early and slept for 13-14 hours. I was so tired and burnt out that I was just knackered. I was just absolutely exhausted, both physically and mentally. And actually it took me a week to kind of recover from that burnout, and I'm only just starting to come out on the other side of that. So yeah, that wasn't really what I was expecting. I might have a delayed celebration. Maybe treat myself to like fancy cake or something. If you have any ideas, let me know. So another difference in my expectation versus reality. My next expectation is that I would be really scared of time running out, because obviously I only have a limited amount of time to make this work. But the reality is that I actually felt really free. I felt free to take some time for myself, which is the first time in a long time. And I felt, just more in control of my time. This is the first time in ages I have felt that my time is truly my own. I am in control of my time. I can choose to relax. And when you are working on a side business, obviously every kind of free second is dedicated to your business. And I didn't really have time for myself. So I think now that my side business is my full-time role, that I can really be flexible. I can be productive when I want to be productive. I can take a break when I want to take a break. And that feels really nice. Obviously I'm only a week in, so that might change. Something that did help was checking my finances, obviously, before I left, to have an understanding of how long I had to make this work, and also accepting that if it doesn't take off as quickly as I would like, that I'll be happy to get a part-time job in the interim. So yeah, I guess that was one of the more positive realities compared to the expectations. Not being scared of time has been a really nice feeling. It's been really nice. So where am I now? I have taken a week to rest, and this is my first week of actually working on my business. I'm excited to work on YouTube videos again because I've not had the time or energy to do that in the last few months, so I'm excited to get back on that. And speaking of YouTube, I'm thinking of creating a Calligra-tea series where I spill the details on what it's actually like to be a creative business owner whilst having an excuse to drink a pint of tea. So if you're interested in following that journey, consider subscribing. If you would like to see more behind the scenes, day-to-day life stuff, consider following me on Instagram. And I'd be interested to know if you are a creative business owner and you left your 9 to 5, what some of your expectations were and what you actually found to be the reality. And if you are someone that would like to leave your 9 to 5, what questions do you have? Because if I'm creating a series, it would be really interesting to know what other people think about. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.